Hey everybody, today I'm going to talk to you about property management from a different perspective. So obviously, if you're looking at this video, you are probably a property owner considering using a property manager. And as an owner, of course, you want your property rented out for the highest amount possible, for the longest time at the least expense, right? So you need to hire a property management agency that checks all those boxes. But one thing that's not really talked about or thought about from a property management perspective is the tenant. Because with a good property management agency, you get better tenants longer. And that is huge. So what you want to do if you're vetting your current property manager or considering another property management company, there are about 5 things related to keeping a tenant, well, finding a tenant, and keeping a tenant happy. I'm going to tell you about those right now. As far as finding a tenant in Panama, tenants are going to be searching a couple different ways. They're going to be searching online. So of course you want your property management agency to be well positioned. That means they show up high in Google. They use all of the listing sites online in Spanish, in English. Some of them are in Portuguese. We advertise on some Russian sites, French sites, all across the board. You want exposure. So you've got digital exposure. You also want your property management agency to have relationships. The kind of relationships that tenants are going to rely on for recommendations. Hey, I am in the market for a rental property and I see like 1,000 online. What do you suggest? A tenant is going to be calling people like their lawyers, maybe their bankers, maybe their insurance people, maybe their colleagues. Maybe they'll be looking on their internal intranet for large companies like Procter & Gamble, Adidas, Maersk. So you want your property management agency to be well positioned within those realms, let's call it. You want your property management agency to be like a good politician, shaking hands, kissing babies, and basically, if they know everybody, that means all roads point back to your apartment. And that's what you want. So that's finding a tenant. There's a lot involved there. It's not just putting it online. You want to make sure it's well positioned and you want to make sure you're exposed as well as possible. So now you want to make sure the property is priced right, nice photos, in great shape. That way when the tenant sees it, they inquire. Or when they visit, they present an offer. These little details seem easy, but in Panama, it can be a challenge to execute. As we all know, the standards of construction and sort of those nice details are a little bit different from North America, Europe. Things like grout in the tile floors. Things like overall appearance, symmetry on art, how the furniture is just perfectly placed. Little tiny details that in the pictures and in the showings make all the difference. Our agents arrive on time, turn on the AC, right? Because who wants to walk into a hot, muggy apartment? It's a lot easier to feel the AC than say, oh, and there's a great AC system here too. Little details like that get your apartment rented. And now let's talk about keeping the apartment rented. So a tenant wants to be attended to at 24 hours a day. If they call you or your property management agency at 10 at night, if they don't get an answer, they want to get a call back at 8 in the morning. Well, I can tell you from experience, Sundays, my guys are answering the phone. Friday nights at 9:30, 10, 10:30, my guys are answering the phone because when they see a tenant call that late, it usually means there's an emergency. And the great news is that we've got relationships with some of the best contractors around who don't work for our company, but they work with our company. In other words, they're not on our payroll, which is important from a cost saving standpoint for you. What you want to know as a property owner, and more importantly as a tenant, is that your stuff is going to get fixed. Your issues are going to get fixed like that. Super important. So our contractors, when they get a call from us, they push other work back because they know that we are a large source of their business, so they're going to take care of us. We know their pricing, so if they try to pull a fast one, my wife is going to catch it. My team is going to catch it. So we're a family company. It's myself, my wife, and 16 other employees. We do property management, we do sales and leasing, and that's also important. Everybody is on the same page. Our property management clients generally get the highest attention as far as positioning their rental properties ahead of folks that aren't using us for property management. Not to say we're not going to try hard to promote all of our listings, but let's not talk about that. Let's keep it on the tenant. So you want your tenant's needs addressed immediately. You want your tenant to be held accountable to make their lease payments. We've got a great collections process that slowly ratchets up the pressure from gentle emails to emails and WhatsApps to emails, phone calls, WhatsApps, and notices to in-person visits, emails, phone calls, WhatsApp notices, cutting utilities to do what you have to do to get the rent paid. And at the end of the day, of course, we follow all the laws of Panama, but at the same time, we put the appropriate amount of pressure on the tenant because if you don't get paid as an owner, we don't get paid. We only charge based on the rent collected, and that's important. Tenants appreciate that accountability because we reward that with good service. In other words, hey, pay your rent, you're gonna get good service. You get good service, pay your rent. It's a symbiotic relationship that works for both sides. If you take care of people, they're gonna take care of you, and that's what we found in this business. And again, that's what's important for you as an owner and you as a tenant. You want your tenant as long as possible. And the last point I'll make is happy tenants tell friends. They want their friends to live in their building. Unhappy tenants say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get out of the apartment. Stay away from there. So hopefully this has provided a little bit of insight. I'm Kent Davis, and yeah, thanks for watching. We do a lot of these videos. So if you like what you see, please subscribe, please share, please like. Have a great day. Ciao.